This is not a diet. This is lifestyle change to complete total health.
Hi, my name is Karen Calabrese, and we're here at my greenhouse, Karen's Fresh Corner, where I grow a lot of the living foods that we use with Dr. Ann Wigmore's program. Dr. Wigmore is a lady that has done much research on living foods and brought it to this country, to the United States. And a lot of people have been healing themselves and helping themselves for a long time with these living foods.
And my work with 35 years, naturally, struggling with so-called incurables, and that's what I love, because basically I always get so excited when they come to us and to the we call change of lifestyle, to living food, energy food. And they said, well, I couldn't be helped anyway. I've been to all kinds of doctors. I've been to clinics and, well, maybe 5 or 10 years or whatever. And that really excites me.
This is a full-grown tray of wheatgrass. We started from seeds. We sprout the seeds, and then we place them on top of the dirt. And it's just a lot of loving care of watering and taking care of it. It doesn't take a lot of time and a lot of energy to water it daily, and it grows to about 7 or 8 inches, and then it's ready to juice and drink. We also grow sunflower greens that are really tasty. Most people are familiar with sunflower seeds. They eat them, but you can actually take the unhulled seed, they're like this, little black seeds, and you sprout them also, and you just lay them on top of the dirt and you water them. It's very simple, very easy to do. You can do it in your kitchen, in your home, any place that you have nice sunlight coming in. They're really delicious and nutritious. We also grow, and you can grow at home yourself, are buckwheat greens. And this is like a lettuce almost, like a salad. And these are really delicious. These are some of my favorites. And you can put them in the energy drink that Dr. Wigmore will talk about, the balanced meal she makes. And you can just juice them in your juicer. Or a lot of people just pick them off if you have a good digestive system, and you can just eat them right out of the tray.
Well, I am Ann Wigmore, and I have mission to help people to help themselves through education. And of course, I have to travel very widely to get the interest, especially in other countries, to be accepted, the alternative way of life. That is the self-help. The Mother Earth is the connecting link with the Father, because we are, as a physical beings, there's your wheatgrass, and that earth is recycled, by the way, when it's used, this wheatgrass from it. And without the Mother Earth, balanced Mother Earth, there's no chemicals in it. You have complete elements, which over 100 elements, that comes through the earth into the seeds and grains and fruits and vegetables, into the body. It's supposed to have the same amount, elements. So if you denature any kind, cook it, whatever you do, you're depleting the enzymes from your body to compensate for cooked food. And that's why we have the allergies, because we depleted the enzymes, which generally supposed to manufacture from your pancreas, but doesn't, because we do not have health. So there's your problem, because you deplete it. And with many other things, drugs, alcohol, smoking, they say you deplete rob your vitamin C. So you could go on and on. Green peas, lentils, and mung beans. And in 3 days, they be sprouted. And that's what we use for the energy soup, besides the greens. Seaweed, which is part of the sea as well. And then you use the avocado. Of course, Rejubilac has to be blended with. So the Rejubilac prevents oxidation. You keep that energy soup for the whole day in your refrigerator.
Wheatgrass has the same elements that make up as our blood. I believe the only thing it's missing is iron. So that when you drink wheatgrass, you're purifying your blood system. You're cleaning out your blood of all the poisons and toxins that you've taken a lot of trouble to accumulate over the years. And it's like doing a blood transfusion. You just kind of clear out your blood, and it gives you lots of energy and cleanses the toxins out of your body.
You have iron in many other foods. You have iron, by the way, watercress, parsley has a lot of iron. Dandelions have iron, weeds have iron, and even without growing New York sprouts, which also have iron. So all these we call as a whole, when you use it, you have different elements, but some have more than other things. That's the key to really health, to really become aware where our health really comes from. All these other things added to it, but we put big emphasis on that is completely balanced. We create our own earth in our own kitchens.
I was a vegetarian for many years. I started out about 21 years ago. I had given up red meat and chicken and fish and all these different foods. I hadn't discovered Dr. Wigmore yet. I discovered her about 9 years ago. And the difference in how I felt when I started doing the living foods as opposed to just giving up the red meat and chicken and fish was like night and day. I lost more weight. Excuse me. My body shape literally changed. As my body cleansed out, my energy level really soared. I thought I had a lot of energy before, and I really did, but once I started doing the wheatgrass and the living foods, it was like a night and day difference. So I do believe that in starting out with just giving up, say, meat, fish, and chicken is a nice beginning. It's a nice stepping stone, but we have to keep going and learning and trying different alternatives, and I really think the ultimate is doing the living foods. I've had a lot of clients come to me with allergies, different allergy problems, and they start eating the living foods, and their allergies seem to disappear. Sinus problems, chronic colds. I have one little girl that's 12 years old now, and she did try for a short time eliminating certain foods, and she was starting to feel better, but ultimately her parents whisked her off to a different doctor, and they've put her on new antibiotics now, and she's sick all over again. The motivating factor that started me with all of this is that all the women in my family have died very young. My mother at 46, and my grandmother at 50, and my great-grandmother at 70, which when you learn about the human body, it's supposed to last a lot longer than 70 years. And this was my motivating factor to try and make some changes for myself. I'm predisposed to a lot of weaknesses in life. I used to be very sick. I was constipated all the time. I had terrible skin. I was tired all the time. I was irritable all the time. And those that know me today certainly wouldn't say, you know, that that's how I live. I live disease-free. I haven't been ill in 18 years. I'm 43 years old. I have a 20-year-old son. I'm a ballerina. I dance with girls that are 16, 17 years old, and I have more energy than they do because they leave the dance studio and go have Pepsi. I might add I have all my dance teachers drinking the wheatgrass now too, and they really drive us. They give us a good class. But since I've changed my diet, my whole life has changed, emotionally, physically, spiritually. As you cleanse your body, your spiritual nature starts to come forth more too. I truly believe that you get more of a connection than what you had before. So my whole life has changed. One client came in with terrible eczema all over her body, and through the Living Foods program, when I work with people, it's not like when they go to Dr. Ann's spa where they're in a controlled environment and this is all that they're doing. So when people work with me, they're going home experimenting with foods they're still eating, so they don't fully go on the program right away. So it took this lady approximately 3 months to the date that she came to see me, and her skin is completely clear. She has no eczema on her body any longer. I have a number of clients who have opted to do conventional medicine with chemotherapy, and once they start doing the living foods with the chemotherapy, they're not getting sick with the treatments, and one lady has since decided to stop with chemotherapy. We don't know how she's doing because she hasn't gotten her report back from her doctor, but she's traveling in Japan right now. What I have learned that life is a process, and everyone's within their own process, and they have their own paths. And the people that are supposed to hear this hear it, and those later on they'll hear it if they're supposed to. So no, I don't get really upset any longer. I try to work within the framework of people who are ready to survive and heal themselves, and I kind of leave the other alone. I can't disperse my energy working with people who aren't ready to listen. So I've kind of gone around that. I used to, though.
The reason I put the emphasis on this particular thing, because these allergy people should experiment really for 2-3 weeks and prove to themselves that it works. But we do not take away anything at all, like you custom, without replacing it. The living food replacement, because basically it would be a very unhappy state of mind to take away this and this and this, because we have The dehydrated things replaces bread. Actually the seeds and the nuts replaces protein. And we have even make pizzas. And we do practically everything that anyone that needs to for so-called variety. And if you ever see, if you like to come this afternoon, and you see the variety of foods that we have prepared and display, and my goodness, the sky's the limit. Everything that's not cooked can be created in a beautiful, tasty form. So it is not what I am just explaining to you, but I want very much, if there's any chance for people to try this for 3 weeks with allergy problem. It gives the body energy to do the things that are necessary to do, instead digesting the food. And cells must have the fuel to function not only physically but mentally in a high energy type of thing. I'm hoping that somehow people wake up to the fact they got to turn back to nature. I said again, there's nothing new. It just merely connect with ourselves, where we really originally come from. We have, as spiritual beings, we have 3 responsibilities: the physical, the mental, and emotional. And if we don't take that responsibility, hand it to somebody else to take care of us, we're not going to make it. Absolutely cannot be done, because basically that's very important, is to be responsible, to be in control. That is in all phases of our life. And that's exactly what we teach, educate people. And actually this particular lifestyle can only be arrived through education. Well, I'm involved in running 2 centers right now, and also going out doing workshops, especially like I'm here. I've been covering 3 states in 1 week. And I do the various kinds of workshops for the medical doctors as well. But I run 2 centers, one in Boston, which is through a 2-week program, and that's in the residential city, Boston, and extremely successful, extremely. In 2 weeks, the people completely changed in 2 weeks. And then I proceeded to open a big center that is built the center in Puerto Rico on the ocean. We had alcoholic of 20 years person that never could get off, ever, and only temporary. She was a youngish person. She was alcoholic since she was 13. And she came to Boston for 2 weeks again. And she felt so wonderful. For the first time, she had absolutely no desire whatsoever. And then she was in New York, and she continued the program. She had no desire. She had no means to go back to alcohol. She went to India, started cooked food, and began to drink again. She went back to Puerto Rico again for 2 weeks. She says, I'll be really out of my mind if I ever get off this, because this is so fantastic. I tried to help the AIDS people to back to their health themselves. And then I pulled in, because I did foolishly wrote a booklet, How to Overcome AIDS Alternative Way. And the Attorney General gave me 3 days to come to court. I couldn't get a lawyer at that time. And but fortunately, I did get a lawyer, and she worked day and night, got me on human rights. And but I never claim anything. I never say, this is good for that, or this is going to cure, or cure is absolutely out, because I don't believe in cure anyway. The body has always been self-healer. The body has to be given environment and means to heal itself, especially, again, let me mention, there's not just the food alone. Believe me, you have to total way to help the body back to health. The exercise, clean colon, that's very important. And then the attitude is very, very important. I always say to people, you need some tools. What do you need? What kind of tools you need? You need to have desire, that nobody's going to stop you. I am going to do it. I know there's a door open for me, and if you have that desire, the energy begins to manifest to make that happen somehow, makes it happen. Of course, you have to go through steps, many steps, sometimes vitamins and all that kind of thing, because this is not a vitamin thing, But anyway, and then you need to do something about it when that idea comes to you, what to do, which means naturally towards helping yourself. Exercise, of course, plays a very, very big role, and then actually do it. You know, like these garden indoors, sprouting and all that, you have to really be involved. You have to be caring enough to do it because you like your body and you want to have, you know, because the desire was there. And then I think that the other part, tools, is the expectation. If you do it, expectation is extremely important. That, you know, actually you're working with the law, the cosmic law. You're working with the universal law, cannot fail you. And then patience. We have at least 700 in around California medical doctors turning to alternative. I just gave a symposium to Dr. Pasley. We had about 15, I think, medical doctors and PHs that did workshops, and I was only one invited there because Dr. Pasley says and recommends in his books that only way we can ever help AIDS people is to change to living food, and of course he gives vitamins, he gives herbs and stuff, because he doesn't fully understand and doesn't do it more likely, but he made steps, don't you see, and he recommends, which is a good thing. I don't like to blame the doctors because doctors never been trained to prevent, and because actually they've been organized, I think, through the drug companies, how, you know, to use these drugs, diagnose disease, and then put a certain drug for its cure. But there isn't any cure, only temporary relief, because the body numbs to these chemicals. That's all it does. If you have a headache, it numbs your headache, but the headache is still there.
Well, I think a lot of what's happening is the human race has survived this long because we do have a survival mechanism. And I think we're realizing that we will not survive if we don't make some drastic changes very soon. Actually, this is a way to totally sustain oneself. Even though I have the greenhouse here and I grow greens commercially, I still sprout for myself in my home. It's an act of nourishing myself, just growing the greens and taking care of the things in my home for myself and sprouting. This is a complete system for, I mean, there are a few things that you have to go outside of yourself for, but then co-ops and things could be formed, you know, to help sustain entire communities food-wise. I help people to make the transition into taking care of themselves. That's what it's all about. Instead of going to a doctor and getting diagnosed or working on specific symptoms in their body, I try to help people to learn that by cleansing and detoxifying their bodies can heal on their own. What I've done is eat primarily with the seasons. During this time of year, I am about 90% living foods, and I do eat a few grains and things here and there, about 10%. I don't think you have to eliminate anything. I think what happens is the cleaner your body, the more educated your body gets, the more intuitive it becomes, and you just don't want these other things. You don't necessarily have to give up the tofu, but the better nourishment your body gets, it just doesn't want it. You don't require it. I'm still in my own transition. I'm still working toward it, you know. Dr. Ann has given me an idea I'm ready to try for the next 3 weeks. I'm going to do only the energy suit. But what I found in my own experience is I didn't give up red meat necessarily. I started drinking vegetable juices, and the more vegetable juices I drank, the red meat became repulsive to me. I mean, it was dead flesh. We use a lot of euphemisms in this country of meat and gravy, but it's dead flesh and blood. You know, and as you put the living foods into your body, this natural intuition starts to come forth. You know, and you just don't want these things. You don't really have to give them up. Of course, if you have a very strong health challenge or motivation like I did with women or the people dying off at an early age, it's easier to do. But I think the regular vegetarian lifestyle is a nice transition for some people. You know, it's a stepping stone along the way. I wouldn't eliminate it. What we have to realize is that we all have it within our power to take care of ourselves. So instead of coming to my greenhouse, which I certainly enjoy, everyone is capable of growing this and taking care of themselves. This is, I think, the ultimate answer is for people to accept the responsibility for their own care, their own nourishment, and not look outside of themselves all the time. So of course, if we had this type of thinking, the whole world would benefit because we wouldn't be taking away from all the time. Right now, the way we exist, all of our grains and corns are grown to feed livestock. Okay, so of course there's a shortage of food because we're feeding the animals and we're using more acreage of land to house these animals instead of growing a few grains in our own house to feed ourselves. So the whole ecological balance is thrown off balance. I had someone say to me once, well, if everybody ate like this, what would happen to all the jobs, the slaughterhouses and things like that? And my answer to that is that they would be creating jobs to help one another instead of slaughtering and taking away from the universe. We could create jobs to help each other. Maybe we would have more greenhouses instead of slaughterhouses.
It takes about 1 acre land to grow the flesh food, meat, 40 pounds only. And the same acre land, you can have all the protein you want from seeds, nuts, grains, and the other things which grow naturally, 400 pounds from the same acre. And actually, as the medical even doctors say now continuously, that you have cancer, especially in your colon, from meat. And actually, when you change to this lifestyle, you become an entirely different person anyway. You become in touch with nature, caring, because you work with your right side of the brain and the heart. If you work with the left side of the brain, you think, well, something's going to make me happy if you're going to get rich and if you're going to do this, have fun, and you know, that kind of thing, because you don't work and operate to your higher self. And the connecting link is to higher self is the earth, Mother Earth, and God the Father is to the enzymes. As you see, anything that in nature is slowly coming into, look at the blossoms there. First was a stem, a leaf, the bud, and then comes the blossom. So that's what we are, actually. We are part of nature, don't you see? How can we get away from it? And that's why I keep saying we've got to connect ourselves with what we really are. We are part of nature. And if we don't connect ourselves, we go stumbling along looking for cures, somebody to help us. There's no such thing. Nobody can help us really fully unless we take that responsibility and that caring what we really are. We are spiritual beings. And we have these 3 responsibilities, the physical, mental, and emotional, and we cannot get away. But if we don't supply the missing elements, which we have naturally, and toxic condition, which this we call living food lifestyle, does 2 things, cleanses and rebuilds. That's all. And then the body heals itself. Simple as that. It's so simple. It's so inexpensive. Imagine, I don't think it costs me to live at least 75 cents a day at the most. And I've lived that for years. And, you know, because I know exactly what I need, because my body tells me. And avocados are kind of expensive here, aren't they? That's the only problem right now. I think we have to wake up ourselves as our society. What we have done, the biggest problem is we're waiting for the government to do things. We're waiting for the government to make some changes. And I think the good news about it, there is a big change taking place. And the only trouble is, I'll give you a little example that I hope you'll be aware what has been done this lately, maybe for a year almost. Cholesterol foods. You know, be careful of cholesterol, right? You heard it all the time. And I've been thinking, and I said, why is that? They're putting such a big emphasis on cholesterol because everything is unhealthy that you give the body. You know what I mean? The oil and what's the cholesterol is all about. And all of a sudden I saw, matter of fact, it came out, they call fake food done in a factory cholesterol-free. So you're going to run to the store to get cholesterol-free food now. And this is what we got to wake up. We got to wake up to the point, unless we are educated, what's there? I don't think we're going to get anywhere as far as, you know, ahead of these, because we don't want spray food, complain about irradiated food, and now you're getting cholesterol-free food. So if you're aware, I don't think anything can happen. I think that's what I keep saying. If you're in control with your state of mind that's observing, I think that's what we need really. health, ourselves, physical and mental health. And once we get that, I think we know what's going on very quickly. We can detect. The planet now is heightening the vibrations, actually. What it is, this we call New Age or whatever, New Era. The 2,000 years are coming. And I keep with big emphasis on this too. I say how much longer we have to make changes. And this, I think, wakened the people up to the point where either they change or they're not going to survive. That's all it is. In plain English, you're either going to change or survive. You got to make up mind, and that's why I am trying to put all the emphasis I can on the choices, alternative and medical. There it is. Take it or leave it. And you can't change people if they're not ready, if they want to suffer longer, if they want to wait till they're almost dying before they change. You can't help that. But I think coming to the point where more and more people are beginning really wake up and they say, gee, the system right now is not working. There's something wrong with the system. And all the systems crumbling, but they're holding back. They're afraid to let go. Because in 2,000 years, we don't want to go down like the Atlantis, do we? 2,000 years. Because everything changes 2,000 years. You know, big changes are going to take place because that's the way it's been. The ancient, if you study, you'll find that is the case. It's very important now that we can do so many wonderful things in helping to back to some sort of balance our planet. So we obligated. I think we all obligated for that. And no other way we can do it but have that perfect health, physically, mentally.
And I was involved in Earth Day back in 1970, and what's going on today is like a dream come true for me, seeing that so many people are involved in the ecological balance of the world and what we're doing to it. I do feel that the timing is right, the time has come. People just realize that we can't go on at the rate. I think we realize all the things that have been done for the almighty dollar aren't always the wisest, that we do have to get back to our inner spirit, our connection with the universe. Take the time to know yourself. I think that's what's important. Take the time to get in touch with your inner being. Open up your mind. Look for alternatives. Maybe this isn't the answer for you at this point in time in your lives, but take the time to open up, increase your scope, your vision for your life and others around you, and the answers will start to come. Thank you.